So I'm going to show you how to make this really cute mandala painting with a watercolor background and acrylic paint. And it's made in a kind of a henna style. It's very cool. To get started with the mandala painting, we're going to get a watercolor paper. It's a square. Mine's about 5.5 inches square. And then you want to get the middle point and start with a compass because we want to just do a few guidelines. These we're not going to follow strictly, but just to have it semi-symmetrical, we want to start with a few little points of reference. So I'm just going to do a couple of circles just to have like a little bit of an idea. Don't have to do too many. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple of circles, and then with my ruler I'm going to do a couple of reference lines so we just know kind of where to go with this. So we'll do one like that, and then another cross, and you can get really particular and get a protractor and measure it. In fact, if you want to, you can just get your protractor. Don't think I've used this since high school or maybe even primary school, so we'll just do a little point of reference and do another cross line. I'm going to keep it relatively simple, so I'll do another line at 45 degrees like that. Okay, and if you want to be really perfect, you can do the same thing here, 45 degrees, and then do your line across like that, and then the same thing here. And this is enough just to give us a guideline. Otherwise it is a little bit difficult to make it symmetrical. So we're going to start with these guidelines like that, and then we're going to tape it down to a solid surface because we're using watercolor and the paper can warp a little bit. So we want to make sure that we secure the paper to a surface. If you're using a canvas and acrylic paint, that's fine too. Of course, you won't need to do this because really you can do it on any surface you like. You can do it on a piece of furniture, you can do it on a piece of wood, or on the paper like I'm doing here. So we're just going to get it set up, and the nice thing about doing this is when you remove the tape at the end, you're going to have a nice little border going on. Okay, so we're just going to go like that, and now you have two choices. You can actually freeform your design in there with pencil and erase these lines here, or if you want, you can just kind of touch this up and then go ahead and paint your background. So for the background, I'm going to keep it super simple. I'm just going to grab a little bit of the watercolor paint, and I'm just going to prepare a few colors like this. So we'll keep it super simple. I'll just put a little bit of yellow like that. You use whatever colors you like. I'm doing a little bit of blue. It's sort of a bit of a sky blue. And basically the colors are just going to bleed into each other. So this is where you can just use your imagination, use your favorite colors, and just go for it. And we're going to keep it really loose. We actually don't want it to be too dark either because it'll distract from the mandala. So we're just going to go in, get the colors you like, let them bleed together, and you'll see no matter what you do, it's going to be nice. You just, I wouldn't use black because it can make it quite muddy, and I would try not to mix your colors too much. I usually keep them separate on my palette and let them bleed in together on the painting itself. And if you find there's areas that are too dark, you can just lift some of the paint off a little bit, just to keep it really soft. Okay, and then you're going to let it dry. So to make the little cone to put the paint in, I use a kind of like a henna cone, but you can actually cut a square of this plastic and do like a little cone with it, or if you want to just take one of these previously made envelopes. These usually come when you buy handmade cards. They often have these, so I'll just put the paint in the corner of the envelope, and then you have to be careful because you really don't want it to leak out. So I just fold it in half like that, and kind of in half again. And then this part you really want to bend over so it's not going to leak out. And if it's too long, just cut the end. Okay. And then take some Scotch tape and just tape it around. And you're better to put a good amount of paint in there so you don't have to do it more than once. And then you squeeze the paint down to the bottom. I actually didn't put that much paint because I'm just experimenting, but if you do one, I would, fill up as much paint as you think you need. And then for this bit, you just want to really cut a teeny little bit off the end, just a really little bit. And then you'll see when you go to paint it, you just have to squeeze it out like that. Okay? And that I even probably did a little bit too much of a hole. So you could really just cut a little teeny little hole, and then you could paint like that. So now the watercolor is dry, and I've put the acrylic paint into this tube. So if you don't want to make your own cone out of cellophane, you can buy these at the art store. And basically what I'm going to do is trying to mimic the design that I did before and keep it really simple and do a kind of a mandala. So you're best to work from the middle and work your way out. But you can test it, the paint at the side, just by putting a little bit out here, like that. And so I'll just start with a little dot in the middle. You have to have a pretty steady hand, so I wouldn't drink too much coffee before you do this. And we'll just keep it really simple. So I'm gonna go, maybe I'll just try a little bit different. I'll just do like little petals. And you can vary the how much paint comes out just by how much you press on it. So and I'm not worried too much about it being perfect. The fact that I'm following the lines at least helps it to be symmetrical. So even if it's not perfect, it's okay. Okay. And if you need to turn the piece around, you can do that too. It's going to make it easier. So I'll start with the basic shape of the flower. I'm noticing this paint is a little bit liquidy. Sometimes the dollar store paint is, so if you find it too liquidy, you can actually use a thicker paint. Maybe use more like a student quality acrylic. And so now I'm just going to go in and do some teardrops this way. And you can also do some little spirals too. If you want to do little decorative spirals, you can do that. And then you can just do a few little dots if you want. And also I like it when there's little dots going out. So let's do like another teardrop here. And you see it's pretty gloopy, but I'm not too worried because I think once the whole thing is done, it's going to look nice. So then from here you can go in and maybe do some little triangle shapes. And it's some dot, like a bigger dot, and then the dots get progressively smaller as you go out. So once you've done all the designs, you're going to let it dry and just take the tape off like this. Mine's not quite dry, so I'll just be really careful. Remove the tape, and there you'll see that you have a nice little frame on the painting, and you have this beautiful mandala that you can either put on a frame or make a greeting card or something like that. and it's just like this one that I have framed. So thanks for watching the video. Let me know if you make your own little henna paintings. You can post photos on Instagram and tag me at Heather Boyd Blog. And say in the comments below if you have any ideas that I can make some other DIY videos. Thanks for watching.